Awesome. Welcome back, you guys. I'm so excited for today's topic because I think it's the most fun to talk about, honestly. Obviously, last time we talked about more of like our programming and our childhood stuff and the heavy stuff. And today we're going to be talking all about making yourself magnetic and sexy and confident and all of these amazing things. And I just find that to be way more fun. So I'm really excited for this. If you have any questions, like I mentioned in the previous call, or you just want to chat and share thoughts, please feel free to unmute yourself, interrupt. I love it. I want it to be interactive, as interactive as possible for you guys. Or you can drop it in the chat, and I check the chat periodically, just to make sure that I'm keeping up with it. So I have a lot to cover today. This is all the stuff that's going to help you, what I like to call activate your love frequency, which is just like a fancy marketing term, I feel like, for like just saying, make yourself super magnetic. Because when we're dating, when we're going out there, when we're trying to find our soulmate, we want to feel as empowered and confident and like sexy, and we want as possible, we want our energy to really be the thing that leads, because when we have our energy shifted into a place that's aligned with that, we tend to really match with people on apps who are aligned with that, find people in real life who are aligned with that. Obviously we're all on the apps these days, we're really busy, and like we don't really like necessarily go out and just sit and like meet people in the wild like we used to, but we also still sometimes randomly have our meet cutes. So no matter what's going on for you, if you can harness this kind of energy, I can guarantee you that you're going to call in different types of partners, different kinds of people, ones that are much more aligned for you, ones that are like your people, versus when we come at it from a place of disempowerment or unease, or we're not sure, or we're not feeling like really like I said, like magnetic, we tend to kind of come from a desperation energy, and an energy of like, oh, I really, really just want to be loved. I want to be, in a partnership. I want to find that person. And when we come from that energy, it opens a door to really like anybody walking in. And you're here to find your person. You're here to find like your like ideal match. And when we want to do that, we want to make sure we're being very intentional about how we're finding them. Okay, so we'll just like dive in. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything as we're going through it, just let me know, and we will pause and talk about it. So the idea, with activating your love frequency is essentially, how do we make ourselves magnetic so we can have the best possible experience while dating and have the best chances at success when it comes to finding our ideal partner. And all of this is really an inside job. It is all about working on yourself, which I'm sure you probably already guessed. And a lot of this is not dependent on the right person walking in, but on you preparing yourself to invite and magnetize the right person into your space. And the great news about that is that it's not so willy-nilly hit or miss. It really comes down to how are we creating the opportunity for ourselves by working on ourselves first. And there's a lot more control when we look at it that way, a lot more like empowerment when we look at it that way. It's not just what's up to chance. Okay, so the first kind of thing that I want to talk about is like self-care is really sexy. Self-care is sexy. Prioritizing your happiness and your well-being is very sexy. Putting yourself first is very sexy. Okay, it's magnetizing. When you think about, celebrities or people in your life, even, or people that who are like that girl, that it girl. They seem to get like everybody they want, everything they want. They walk into the room, everyone turns their head. They want to be around them. They have this charisma and energy that just brings people into their space. Guaranteed, one of the things that they're doing, one of the major things they're doing is they're doing this. They're doing the self-care, they're prioritizing their happiness and well-being, no matter what other people are thinking or doing. And they're putting themselves first always. They're not doing things for other people. They're not living their life to make other people happy or to get acceptance from anybody else. They are making themselves happy. They're taking care of themselves. And that is magnetizing. So what does this look like? When it comes to doing this work, you want to make sure you're focusing on like, what are your health habits? How are you taking care of your health and well-being? I used to think like being sexy was like, going out and partying all night and wearing a cute little dress and like drinking and, going crazy and whatever. And like, yeah, that's fun and like cute when you're, a young like kid, in your early 20s or something, but it's not like really sexy, you know what I mean? And really empowered. And so you want to look at like, how are you treating your body? How are you treating your health? Are you making sure that you are giving your body and your well-being everything that it needs to operate at its highest level, whatever that means for you? Okay. Let me just see. Okay, cool. Welcome, Kate. Hi, Kate. Awesome. So look at your health habits and ask yourself, like, how am I taking care of myself? In what ways? And in what ways am I not taking care of myself? In what ways could I be stepping it up? Because taking care of yourself is really sexy, makes you confident, makes you feel good, all around a good thing. Another thing you can look at is appearance. And now I want to be really careful about how I talk about this because appearance doesn't mean you need to look perfect. Appearance doesn't mean you need to meet some ideal that society has for what beauty means or, what sexy looks like according to other people. When I talk about looking at how you treat your appearance and how you present yourself to the world, I want you to think about, how do I dress myself and how do I put myself together in a way that feels sexy to me, in a way that feels really helps me feel really confident. Am I wearing clothes that make me feel really confident and really sexy and really powerful? Or am I wearing things that are uncomfortable or, are like, tattered and kind of like, I'm not really putting any effort into how I look? Because I can tell you something, when you dress yourself in clothing that feels great on your body, is cut for you, makes you look really nice for yourself, again, not looking nice for other people, but for yourself, you feel really confident. You'll feel really empowered and really sexy. And when you walk out into the world, you carry that energy with you. When you feel good, people can feel that. When you feel self-conscious, people can also feel that. And so one of the ways to help yourself is to look at how you are presenting yourself and to dress yourself in a way that makes you feel as great as possible. And so again, doesn't matter what society tells you you should look like. It's really like, how do you present yourself and create that physical appearance that will make you feel as empowered as possible. Okay. Positive self-perception is really key for self-care. And I don't mean like talking bullshit to yourself about how amazing you are and like affirmations in the mirror. I'm talking about how you perceive yourself on a deep level. And if you have struggled with, feelings like worthy, feeling confident, this is the time that you need to really practice and work on how you see yourself and creating a positive self-perception. Okay. And this means, I'll go into like more specific exercises for this at the end. I have like a list of things you can do, but this really means like looking at how you think about yourself, right? When you are operating in your day-to-day life, are you very critical of yourself? Are you tearing yourself down? Are you judging yourself? Are you comparing yourself to other people? Are you doing things that are actively creating for yourself a negative self-perception where you're constantly not enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not smart enough, you're not accomplished enough, whatever that might be, because only you have the power to stop that. And you can. Okay. And it's about becoming the observer of your thoughts. And we kind of practice this by detaching from the thoughts that you have and looking at them like they're outside of yourself, almost like if you're observing your thoughts like they're cars passing on a highway in front of you, or they're words passing on a billboard that you're watching from a distance, and just looking at what these thoughts are saying and going, okay, why am I doing that to myself? Why do I need to tear myself down? What stories am I telling myself about who I am? And are they actually supportive or not? Because you can shift those stories, you can shift the way that you talk about yourself if you can observe and capture it in the moment and reframe it. So in those moments where, I've been, like I'm 6 months pregnant right now. My body is changing so much. And there have been times where I'm literally like looking in the mirror and I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm so huge. Like I'm so huge and I'm so fat and I like feel self-conscious and all of these things. And I feel that effect on my confidence, right? And like in those moments, I have the choice of either letting that be the story that I tell myself or going, wow, actually, my body's like making space for a fucking human being. And like, it is so magical and beautiful that I can do this with my body, and how sexy that is that I get to create life, and how feminine that is. And like, let me embrace all of this right now. And I can always, after everything is done, like, I'll go back to being a different way that feels sexier to me. But right now, like, can this be sexy? Can this be something that I actually really embrace about myself? So make sure that you are like shifting wherever you can your self perception so you see yourself as the beautiful, amazing, powerful, cool, sexy person that you are, because you are. Okay. Now, this is a big one, you guys. So, pleasure practice. Now, I'm not a sex coach, but I have lots of friends who are sex coaches who have helped me along the way. And one of the things that you can do that's powerful for your self care and powerful for your energy is self pleasure practice. Okay. That can be like not just masturbation, but that can also be like giving yourself a massage and putting oil on your body and just like really touching yourself and admiring your physical being, finding pleasure in your physicality, in your sensations, eating food that feels incredible in your mouth texture, in the flavor. Like, where can you draw pleasure from your everyday life, from the things that you're already doing? Can you find pleasure in the walk that you take in the morning? Can you find pleasure in the interactions you have with people? Can you find pleasure even in your work, right? And maybe not, maybe work is work, right? But anywhere that you can find pleasure, find it and embrace it and soak that in, because that is such an energy shifter. And of course, masturbation, very important. Love yourself and give yourself all the orgasms, all the love that you need, because then you're not relying on anybody else for that. And you're also giving yourself like dopamine and serotonin and all of these amazing happy chemicals that are going to make you feel so good. Okay. So do not skimp on that stuff. You can also engage in like, well, I kind of talked about this, but like with the pleasure practice, there's that sensual embodiment practice, right? Where you're touching your body, you're oiling, giving yourself a massage, taking care of your skin, all of that, really important. Filling your cup every single day, however you can. You've all heard the phrase, if you're like on any social media and follow any kind of coach, any kind of self like help person, you have heard about filling your cup and how you can't operate from an empty cup. And this means giving yourself everything that you need in every single day if you can. I mean, obviously we're not perfect, right? But like wherever you can, fill your cup in in little ways, in big ways, through self-care, through pleasure practices, through prioritizing your happiness and well-being. You can fill your cup in any way. There's so many ways. So give yourself the things that you need to feel happy and to feel healthy and to feel like you're caring and loving on yourself every single day, because you want to be the person that you are your own primary like giver of love. Like, you don't want to give that power to somebody else, rely on anybody else to give you the love that you need. If you can fill your cup, if you can give yourself everything that you need, then and anybody who walks into your life is an option, not a somebody that you have to grasp and hold on to because they're the source of your happiness or they're the source of your love. If you can give yourself that, it gives you so much more power to stand on when you are dating than if you come into dating from a place of looking for someone to do that for you. And we'll talk about it in a second, but that will also set you up for being with people who are not going to treat you the way you deserve to be treated, because your partners will mirror the way that you treat yourself. The way that you treat yourself is the way your partners are going to treat you. Okay. And it also like is the way that you're going to figure out whether or not someone's right for you, because you're either getting what you need from them and they're either matching the energy that you give yourself or they're just fucking not. And then you know when to walk away or to work on it or whatever it might be. Okay. And the last thing in this little topic is live your life for yourself and not for anybody else. And that is like the ultimate form of self-care. We tend to kind of grow up in a society that tells you need to live your life, but make the people around you happy. You need people's approval. You need to, live out what your parents want you to do, or what your partner wants you to do, or what your friends want you to do in order to be accepted, in order to be loved, in order to be a good person. And that's false. You need to live the life that's in alignment for you and you alone. And people can get on board or people can get off the train, but you need to live that life that makes you happy first. And that is really powerful. So it may not look like the life that you're living now 100%. It may look something like what you're doing right now, or maybe you are living the life that you want to live for you right now. Wonderful. But take a look and ask yourself, where am I making choices and decisions in my life that are based on making other people happy and not myself? Put yourself first. It's really, really important. Okay. Now moving down, the other thing that's going to help you really harness this magnetism is dating yourself. And this is kind of, it can be like a little bit nerve-wracking, I'm not gonna lie. But when you really get into it, I promise it's the best thing you'll ever do. You need to be your own best lover and partner. And I touched on it before because you don't want somebody to come and complete you. You want to create the completeness within yourself as much as possible. It's like thinking about like the person coming into your life should be the icing on the cake, not the cake. You are the cake. Okay. And in that sense, you maintain a lot of your personal power. And the person who walks in gets to match that energy and gets to meet you at that place, at that wonderful, empowered place, versus calling in somebody who you're grasping onto desperately, tolerating BS behavior, like letting things slide, settling for crumbs, even like dealing with really toxic people because you are so desperate to have them be your cake and your icing. Okay. So when you learn how to date yourself first before you really go out there and let other people into your life romantically, you're going to know exactly what you want from your partners. You're going to know that you can give yourself those things. So you're not desperate coming from that energy of desperation or disempowerment. And you are much more likely to get the outcomes that you want. Okay. So how do we do this? So take yourself out for dates. And this might sound like really scary. I've done this, and at first it was really nerve-wracking. My clients have done this, and some of them are really okay with it. Some of them are a little nervous, worried about what people are going to think. But take yourself out for dates, right? Like romance yourself. Give yourself the things that you want your partner to give you. So take yourself out for a movie. Go out to eat alone. Learn how to enjoy being with yourself, right? Like take yourself on a shopping trip, take yourself on a mini getaway, staycation, vacation for the weekend. You can always talk to other people, right? And like make conversations, make friends, like when you're in these spaces, but go by yourself, go to a concert by yourself, right? Like I know this can sound overwhelming, but when you start to do it, you start to really learn that you don't need anybody else to complete you, and that you can have a phenomenal time just enjoying your life and romancing yourself. And you can give yourself everything that you need. Not saying you don't need a partner, but just that so much of that reliance on getting that from someone else goes away. And then the stakes get lower when you're dating. And then when you're dating, you have much more of a sense of, I can say no to this person. Like, they're not really like matching the energy. Like, I already have fun doing this by myself. I don't need to like be begging someone to go to a concert with me. I don't need to be begging someone to take me on a date. I take myself on fabulous dates. If you're not going to take me on the same kind of experience that I take myself on, then I don't want it. You know what I mean? It really helps you stand and be discerning. Um, Being alone with yourself is really important. Feeling okay, and even like, just like, first it's like learning how to feel safe being alone, feeling okay being alone, and gradually really learning how to enjoy your alone time. Really important. If you can't be alone, it's dangerous to date, because that leaves you vulnerable to really toxic people coming into your life and weaponizing that sense of I can't be alone against you, because they know they can get away with stuff. They know they can do things that are not necessarily healthy or loving or supportive or beneficial for you, because they know you're never going to go anywhere, because you can't be alone and you don't want to be alone. So you're going to tolerate a lot more than, let's say, somebody who is fine being alone, right? And it's not meaning that you'll never feel lonely. That happens when we're single, right? Like, that happens when we're dating people and we get rejected, or we are going through this process of like matching and unmatching and makeups and breakups and all of that, of course. But at the core, if you are okay and really enjoy being with yourself, that at least will put you in a space where you're much less likely to let somebody in that you give your power away to. Okay. Your completeness can't depend on another person being there or another person at all, because everyone in the world, in your life, every single person will disappoint you at some point or another. But you get the opportunity to not disappoint yourself. You will always be there for yourself. And if you know that you are always there for yourself, you're going to be okay. Okay. So learn to love being alone with yourself, practice it. Um, and yeah, be the cake. Don't let, like, you be the cake and let the partner be the icing. Don't let the partner be the cake and the icing, because it's going to be a nightmare for you. All right. Next, we're going to do romanticizing your life. So romanticize your life. Live in the reality of who you're becoming in the life you want to have every single day. Make choices from the perspective of the new, confident, magnetic person you want to be. Create your new reality every day. So, what does this look like? It looks like, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, can you soak in the pleasure and the amazingness that is around you in your life? Can you slow it down? It's like a mindfulness practice, and create a life that feels amazing for you. It means like investing in yourself in whatever way that looks: time, energy, money. It could be investing in giving yourself time to just lay around and like listen to music that you love and not be doing something or being productive. It could mean like sleeping in and like letting yourself rest. It could be investing in candles, and like, you see that candle at the store and it's like $25 and you're like, oh my God, I would love to have this candle in my house. And then you don't buy it because you're like, well, that's not practical. Buy the fucking candle. Like, buy the fucking candle. Invest in yourself. Like, romanticize your life and give yourself the little things that are going to help you feel like you have this really full, exciting, juicy existence, right? Money comes and goes. Time you'll never get back. Energy is here and there, in terms of when you have it, when you don't. So it's like everything is always in flux. But you can make those choices every single day to take those resources and use them wisely to help yourself. Okay. And then when you're thinking about the person that you want to call into your life, and you're thinking about like, well, what version of myself would I be around this ideal person? Start embodying that version of yourself. Now, I don't want it to be confused with not being authentic, because you don't want to change who you are. But there is a version of you that exists when you are being loved deeply by your ideal person. When you're loved and seen and heard and cared for, you are going to be the best version of yourself. And if you are not in that energy of somebody doing that for you actively, do it for yourself and then start to walk in the shoes of being that person who is loved and cared for and needed. What do you look like when you have all of your needs met? How do you operate? What do you think about? How do you live your life every day? What are the habits, the choices, the decisions that you make on a daily basis when you're in that energy? And start to do that. It's almost like a fake it till you make it, right? So if you're not feeling that, that's okay. Just ask yourself, well, what like one or two little things can I do today? Can I shift in the way I operate so I can come from that place? I know that when I feel really loved and cared for, I take good care of myself. Right. And what does that look like? It looks like drinking the water I need to every day. It looks like getting outside in nature. It looks like holding my boundaries, where I need to hold my boundaries. So start doing that. Start walking in the shoes of that energy of who am I when I'm really at my best and when I'm really getting everything I need. And slowly but surely, you will become that version of yourself more times than not. And that's putting you in that magnetizing energy of attracting your ideal person, of attracting the person who's going to like help you continue to be in that energy. Okay. The next one is kind of tricky, right? So you need to be authentically you when you're dating, when you're living life, when you are operating in the world. And now, of course, we tend to shift a little bit of who we are based on who we are interacting with, and that's normal and healthy. You would not be, you wouldn't be you unfiltered with your boss. Not as unless you guys have that kind of close relationship or with like a client of yours necessarily. Um, so that's like it's important to hold the nuance, right, of this, which is that you want to be your authentic self as much as possible with everyone, with the idea that also sometimes there's a little bit of things that you kind of not hide, but like you're not so upfront with, depending on the person. But when it comes to dating, be 100% authentically you. Like, seriously, because what that does is you're actually allowing someone to get to know the real you. We have this idea of like, okay, I met somebody, I'm gonna go out on a date with them. I'm gonna like dress like amazing. I'm gonna like, laugh at all their jokes. I'm going to like, tell them about X, Y, and Z because those are the most impressive things about me. And I'm definitely not going to talk about my love of, Star Wars and nerdy shit, or I'm definitely not going to, tell them about this thing that maybe is more vulnerable for me or, anything like that. And what you end up doing is you have this mask that you put on when you're dating and you're selling a false version of yourself. So if that person falls for you, they're falling for that masked version of you. And what's going to happen is that over time, that becomes harder and harder to actually keep up with. You're not going to be able to be this version of yourself all the time. You're going to like eventually the mask is going to slip and they're going to find out that you love Star Wars. They're going to find out that sometimes you have like these bad habits or these things or whatever, like that makes you authentically you, or that you laugh really loud. I'm such a loud person. Like I used to try and hide that and then it would like surprise people as they got to know me and they're like, oh my God, you're like, you are loud. And I'm like, yes, I resonate. I was a theater kid. You know what I mean? I'm used to being on stage. So if you hide who you are because you're self-conscious, like about the shadow parts of yourself, the parts of yourself that maybe you feel self-conscious about, that you feel have caused you to be rejected in the past or judged or anything like that, if you hide those things, you're not allowing yourself to be in a position to like really meet your person, because your person is going to absolutely love and adore you for every part of yourself. Okay. And they're going to love that you're loud. They're going to love that you're a little nerdy. They're going to love that like you're kind of weird or whatever it might be that you're hiding about yourself. They're not going to in any way like not like that. And then you don't have to worry about holding up a mask or keeping up a version of yourself that's not really you, because that'll eventually crumble. And then the relationship will crumble because we're selling a false product. So learn how to be comfortable with your shadows. Learn how to be 100% you when you're dating, because that's where you're really giving yourself the chance to meet the person who's meant for you. Otherwise, we're wasting time and we're going to be disappointed. Okay. And it's going to be a lot of work. Trust that you're enough. Like, you don't need to make anybody like you, because your ideal partner will like you for you. And the more and the faster you show everybody who you really are, the faster you're going to find out whether somebody is meant for you or not, rather than wasting time getting invested and then getting disappointed. So, really important, be authentically you. Practice making conversations and connections with strangers. So talking to lots of folks as you move throughout your day. This is a really kind of like simple, easy way to work on your charisma, to work on your ability to relate to others, to connect with others. Practice talking to strangers often. So if you are out getting your morning coffee and you're standing in line, like pick up a conversation with someone behind you or someone in front of you. It doesn't have to be a long conversation, it doesn't have to be a deep conversation, but strike up a conversation, talk to the guy behind the register, whatever it is, like practice connecting with people. And I give my clients this like tip that it's really easy to connect when you either start with a compliment, or you open up a conversation by asking for some kind of advice or help, right? So if you are, waiting for like the subway or the metro or something, and you see somebody that you might want to like have a random engage conversation with, or you might want to randomly just like practice your communication, practice your like striking up a conversation skill with, you can be like, hey, do you know like how often this train comes? Like, or hey, like, do you know like how to get to this place? Or whatever. Just like, even if you know the answer, like just like strike up a conversation, ask that question, ask for a little help or advice, or compliments. So easy. Everyone loves to be complimented. Do you like a handbag or a coat that some person is wearing? Be like, hey, where'd you get that? I love that like coat. It's so pretty. The color is amazing. And then you just like get to start really like practicing getting comfortable talking with and engaging with strangers. And that's how you build up a lot of confidence. And that's also how you get to like meet new people, because you never know who these new connections are going to be in your life, and you never know who they might introduce you to like weeks, years later. Let's say you're become friends or something like that. And this goes for like making friends as adults too. We're all like, oh my god, like it's so hard to make it like friends as adults. I say get out there, go take yourself out to eat, go like somewhere new by yourself, go to a concert and like give somebody a compliment and like see what happens. Some people may not be receptive, totally fine, don't take it personally. And other people will be like, yeah, like, oh my god, thank you for asking, I appreciate the compliment, like this is where I got it. And then just start to like talk to people. So when you have really good skills at confidently approaching strangers, confidently engaging in conversation and relating to other people, every time you go out and date, you're going to feel so much less anxious. You're going to feel like present. You're going to feel like you know how to navigate conversations with strangers and new people. You're going to have the skills to relate really quickly to someone else. And you're going to feel confident doing so. And it eventually becomes addicting, because now I used to like not talk to anybody when I went out, kind of like have the blinders on. And now I like love talking to everybody and meeting new friends and like making new connections. And yeah. And if it's somebody that you have an eye on, like let's say you have like a gym crush or something, please go out there and make some conversations. It doesn't have to turn into a date. It doesn't have to turn into marriage. But go and say, hey, like, could you show me how you did that? Like, I'd love to try that exercise, wink, wink. Practice, practice talking and making conversations. All right. So let's dive into creating dating rules and protocols. So I saw this TikTok live, and I was watching this with my current partner, and we were laughing because it was this dating coach in Canada. And actually, she was really pissing me off because she was just like very black and white about what she was talking about, which was like, these are the rules that you need to follow in order to have a successful relationship. And these are the only rules that you should follow. And like one of them was like, don't kiss before like 3 months, like no physical contact before 3 months. And I was like laughing. I'm like, oh my God, like that is just like, that's not for everybody. You know, everybody has their own things, and has their own needs to create their own rules and protocols. And of course, there's some general, like good rules to follow, but like at the same time, like you have to listen to your intuition in these moments, and you have to know yourself really well to be able to give yourself your own kind of rules and protocols that keep you safe. Because the one thing that you want to do is make sure that you're dating from an empowered place, that you're not making yourself vulnerable to, connecting or attaching to people who potentially could be dangerous for you, and that you are like honoring yourself so that you always feel like you're really coming from that confident, empowered place. So think about like what are some dating rules and protocols that you want to put into place based on what you know about yourself. So for example, if you are somebody who you know for a fact that when you sleep with somebody, you get very emotionally attached, then you're going to want to think about, well, how do I want to create boundaries around that so I don't let that cloud my judgment? How do I want to create maybe a protocol around that so that before I sleep with somebody, I really know that it's someone I want to invest and attach to or connect with, and I'm not just giving it away to get that instant feeling, that hit almost of like a drug of like feeling attached and feeling loved. So if that's something that you know you are working with, then you need to create some kind of boundary and protocol around that so that you're not disempowering yourself. Not going to their place on the first night, Lena. Yeah. So if that's something that you know is a protocol for yourself, do it and stick with it, right? And sometimes it's hard because sometimes the chemistry is really there, you guys, and it's like, oh my God, I just want to like go home with this person and just like have a great time. And you might be kicking yourself in the ass because maybe it's not going to work, but maybe it will. I don't know. You know, you have to make that call for yourself. I have like a rule that like when I broke up with my ex was a toxic narcissist. And when I broke up with him, there was something that I promised myself. He never took me out on dates, like never took me out to dinner. If we went out on a date or to dinner, it was because I planned it and I paid for it. And I said to myself, like anybody who I date in the future, if they're not willing to take me on a proper date and pay, or at least like offer to pay, we can split it. Like I'm not like that kind of person that's like you have to pay, but like at least put the effort in planning something nice, and I don't want anything to do with it. If somebody cannot take the time to plan something and get into that like, you know, caretaker kind of like masculine energy of like I'm going to put that effort in and like show you that I'm interested, I want nothing to do with that. And that's a personal rule and protocol. If someone is going to ask me out, they better plan something, tell me the date and time, tell me where to go, and like, you know, take charge in planning something that's going to be fun. Because the kind of person that does that shows that they're really interested, shows that they're invested, and that they respect my time. I'm not gonna go like to your house and play video games, like and eat a or order in a pizza. Like we're not married, you know what I mean? Like that's shit you do when you've been in a relationship for a long time because you're together. But like if you are just getting into the dating and it's like the first date, the first like bit of time that you're getting to know each other, like plan something, like make an effort, go the extra mile, like so that I know that you really are someone who cares. And it shows a lot about who you are. So think about like those rules and protocols that you want for yourself. It's really important, and stick with them. Don't settle. Uh, and then looking at the chat, or to be a control freak and ask for lots of explanation and reassurance. That's a red flag. Yeah, I can totally see that. I can totally see that. Totally. So yes, when you're thinking about this, they have to be things that apply to you based on your history, your wounds, your needs, all of that. Don't follow anybody's box set of dating rules. There are no rules. Just think about what you need for yourself. And of course, like, I would suggest that like a rule that you have for yourself or a boundary is that anybody who treats you like shit or is abusive, it's a hard no. Just maybe that's a hard and fast rule, but that again is just mine. Okay, so that is our little rule. Oh, okay. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about boundaries too. So boundaries are really important when you're dating. It teaches other people what you're willing to tolerate. They're there to protect you, and keep you safe, and they're really there to help you be discerning about who you are letting into your life. Do not settle for crumbs. Do not settle for crumbs. If you start settling for crumbs in the beginning and you don't have boundaries around that, it's going to hurt. If you're somebody who you're dating someone new and you text them and then they don't text you back for 2 days, like, you're settling for crumbs. Everybody has their phone on them. Everybody can take 2 seconds to like message you back, right? If they don't, they're not interested unless there's some major emergency happening, like they're in the hospital or like someone died. There's no reason that someone can't text you back. The playing of the games, the kind of like making you sweat, the kind of like, oh, I'm going to show I don't care, by not being responsive. Like, we're done with that time. Like, we're done with that era. Like, we're done with the game playing. Like, you want to date someone who's actually fucking serious about being with you. If they do that shit, like, red flag, yellow flag at least, because you want someone who knows that they want you and that they're going to put the effort in. So don't settle for crumbs. When they crumb you with like little attention here and there, or they crumb you with some hope about the way that they're going to treat you, or they go, oh, let's meet next weekend, but they make no plans to meet. You don't need to deal with that. Have some boundaries around that. Around the ways that they interact with you, around frequency of interaction and contact, and the type of contact that they have with you. And don't settle for crumbs in any way, really. Don't settle for the bare minimum. When it comes to boundaries, like, speak your truth. Always speak your truth. Again, it's really about being authentically yourself. Like, if someone is doing something that is bothering you, tell them. If someone is like, don't freak out on them, but say, hey, I kind of like felt weird about this interaction that we had the other day. Is it okay if I talk to you about it? Can we talk about it? If they are doing something that's like really bothersome, like, they're treating somebody that not well, or like they're really critical of you, or there's something going on, like, say something. If you see something, say something. Do not swallow that stuff. Speak your truth. If you believe in something passionately, speak about it. There's so many divisive issues going on, everywhere you go, everywhere you turn. But if you're passionate about something, don't hide it because you don't think the person is going to agree with you. Like, be authentically you. Like, share that point of view. Share what you're passionate about. Don't hide yourself, right? So that's kind of a boundary, is like, don't mute yourself or fawn. Like, speak your truth where you need to. Don't let someone make you feel like you have to beg for their love or attention. Boundary, like I talked about. If they're not communicating back with you, if they're playing games, if they're making you beg for some attention and some love, and like making you feel like you aren't enough, bye. We don't have time. And they're not going to grow into loving you more. Like, that says a lot about a person, and you don't need to invest any more time or energy into that, because you're just going to get hurt. Make sure that you're essentially getting back what you're giving. If you are someone who's giving with an open heart, communicative, upfront, genuine, authentic, caring, empathic, all of those things, make sure they are doing that for you too. If they are not, you do not need to stick around for that. Pick a partner, not a project. And I feel like that should be like the mantra of like your dating life. Pick a partner, not a project. Pick someone who's emotionally mature, who's communicative, who feels their feelings, knows how to manage their triggers, is doing the work, really knows that they're serious and wants a relationship. And everybody else, don't settle. Like, do not. Get what you're giving, and always ask that you're getting what you're giving back. Yeah, Adriana. Yes, feeling it. So pick a partner, not a project. You do not need to work on someone to get them to love you. That's way too hard, way too much work. Um, you want people who are serious applicants only. And I'll be honest with you, like most people won't be, and it's like casting, and this is where actually non-attachment, the next point comes in, but it's like casting that very wide net without any expectation or putting any pressure on making every connection something bigger, but just knowing that you have to catch a lot of fish to find the fish that you want. That's kind of like an interesting analogy because it's kind of gross. You don't want to like kiss a fish, but but you know what I mean? So like most people that I like to think about it, like most of us are like, or all of us are like balloons, and we're all trying to find our balloon mate partner. And like as you're moving through the sky, like you're gonna bounce off of balloons, like you're gonna touch other balloons, you're gonna bounce off of balloons, and most of the balloons you're gonna bounce off of, and it's this gentle kind of bouncing and like touch and whatever and connection, but eventually you meet the balloon that you stick to, right? And so when you're dating, it's the same thing. It's like practice non-attachment, like non-attachment to the outcomes, and have fun as much as you can with this. Don't make it all about every connection has to be the person that I stick to. Every connection has to be my love of my life, and I have to like mold and twist myself and like make it work because that means that I'm lovable and that means that I'm worthy, and then I'll be happily ever after. They'll grow to love me. Like that's all nonsense. You are going to meet a lot of people. Meet as many people as you possibly can. You'll know when you meet the person you want to invest your time with. You'll know when you meet that person you want to stick to. But you will not find that person if every single connection that you make, every single person that you date, you try to make it work and make it into something bigger. Okay? Be present. Be present to enjoy the process, to enjoy what is right in front of you. Be okay with walking away. Be okay with it not being a match. We're not meant for everybody. Most of us aren't meant for each other, right? We have like a very small circle of close friends. We have a very small circle of people that we're really close with, that we really connect to. And that's on purpose. There's 7 billion people in the world, right? Like it doesn't say anything or mean anything about you when you are not connecting too deeply every single person that you meet. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you're not lovable or that you're going to be alone the rest of your life. It doesn't mean anything like that. Don't make it personal. Allow yourself to bounce off of people gently and enjoy each connection for what it is. And when something is meant to be deeper, you will feel that. There's no fucking questioning that. You don't have to force it. You don't have to push it. You don't have to work at it. You don't have to suffer. There's no chaos. There's no drama. You will know in your soul when you meet that connection, and then it'll be easy. It's an easy kind of thing. Everything else, like bounce off, like meet lots and lots of people, meet as many people as you can, go on as many dates as you possibly can, and don't attach to the outcome. And you'll come in and out of it feeling much more confident and much stronger. And look at it like you're in it to potentially just make a new friend, practice making conversation, practice connecting to somebody. Not that, oh, this has to be the love of my life. Cast that wide net and catch a lot of fish, and your person will be somewhere in that net. Takes the pressure off. I have my little notes here that I'm reading. So yeah, it takes the pressure off of dating where, it's like, oh my God, I have to make something happen. You do not. Enjoy what's happening in front of you. Find ways to have fun with it. It should be fun. Don't focus on results. And watch the stories that you're telling yourself. Be in a flow state. If something doesn't work out, don't tell yourself stories that aren't supportive for you. And not unless there's some big problem that you see happening over and over and over again that you maybe need to address for yourself. Don't let it mean anything about you or your lovability or your worth. Like, watch the stories you tell yourself during this process. And yeah, the minute that it's not for you, just walk away. Be willing to walk away and trust that what's for you is out there. And that's really hard to do, but you can do it. And then the last kind of little things are take breaks and know when to cocoon. You know, when we do date, we do meet people, we do get invested. We open our hearts, we are in a vulnerable place, and sometimes we get rejected, and sometimes it doesn't work out, right? So know when you're in that vulnerable place where you're feeling kind of heartbroken, where you're feeling kind of, like I said, vulnerable, and know when it's time to take some space for yourself and cocoon. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to be dated out and exhausted and like, okay, like I need to take some time. Take that time for yourself. Like, you do not want to enter the dating space being vulnerable in a vulnerable place, because you're going to attach to people. You're going to tolerate things you wouldn't normally tolerate. You're going to invite people in that are potentially really toxic because they can smell vulnerable people, especially narcissists. Like, that is a dangerous game you're playing if you're going to go into the dating space and you are very vulnerable and heartbroken and needing love, right? And wanting to find that reassurance from the outside that you are in fact worthy and lovable. You need to heal that. Take some time for yourself. So know when you need to do that. Because it'll cloud your ability to make discerning choices. And then you might get stuck with someone who's really going to hurt you. So now I'm going to just touch on some really sneaky psychology tricks for building connections with someone new. And, you know, I say practice these skills with everybody. Like, you know, when I said, like, go practice, like, talking to random strangers, like, practice these skills for relating and connecting with people, because it's going to help you relate and connect to the people that you're dating. Don't put in this effort if the person that you're on a date with is just not a match, or you're not vibing with it. But if it's someone that you are vibing with, there are like sneaky little ways that you can foster the connection that you're building, and help them feel really connected to you. So take some good notes here. Eye contact. Make eye contact. Don't be looking at your phone. Don't look around. Don't be like shifting your gaze everywhere. When they're talking, look at them. Don't like creepily stare at them like you know, like one of those porcelain dolls that like is from like the Annabelle movies. Like, don't be like that, okay? We all know we all know that that's really creepy. But like, make good eye contact. Like, let them, it helps people feel seen and heard, okay? Active listening. When someone is really listening to you, they are nodding their head. They're reacting to what you're saying. So do the same thing. Don't just like sit there and kind of just like let people talk, but actively engage, smile, like nod your head, kind of go, oh, okay. Like, you know, like make some noises, like show that you're actually listening, repeat what they say back to them. Like, if someone's telling you like a really like a story about something, like when they're done, be like, wow, that was a really interesting story. Like, it sounds like, you know, you really like had an exciting time on that vacation, like sounds super crazy, or whatever it is. Like, reflect a little bit back to them what you're hearing. Lena said, I'm guilty on the Annabelle eyes. I can't fake it if I don't like someone. Well, listen, you're being authentically you. Like, if you don't like somebody and you just want to give them the stare, that's fine too. I say use these for people that you actually want to engage in or engage with. Okay, so active listening, smile, laugh, you know, like show that you're interested. You can mirror body language. So if someone is touching their arm, you can touch your arm, mirroring what they're doing. If they're sitting in a particular way, crossing their legs, you can cross your legs. If they're putting their hand on their chin, you can put your hand on your chin. This kind of mirroring creates a subconscious connection that helps them feel, again, seen and heard and connected with you. Physically lean in. If they're talking, we show interest by our body will be drawn in. So if they're talking, like, let yourself lean in, like lean forward, like that signifies that you're kind of interested. Open body language. So avoid crossing your arms like this, or creating things that are kind of coming where you're crossing off or closing your body, like hunching over or turning away from somebody. If you really want to engage and be connected with them, drop your arms, leave them open on the table or on your lap, like turn with your body facing them. If you're walking side by side with somebody, when you are, obviously watch where you're going, but like turn yourself to, like, when you talk with them, don't just talk looking forward, but like kind of turn your body a little bit and look at them. So that's really a thing you can do as well. And then ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are great ways to get to know people, and allow people to share about themselves, and notice if somebody's asking you open-ended questions. Really important, because it means that they want to know you. Okay, so those are the tips for magnetizing yourself when it comes to dating. And there are some practices that you can do. I mean, we already talked about ways to behave and habits to engage in, to help you really magnetize. And here are some extra ones for you. Make sure you have a morning routine, even if it's one or two little things that set you up for a really positive experience for your day. Whatever that looks like for you, could be like making sure you have your like quiet cup of coffee. It could mean journaling. It could mean dancing to your favorite songs. It could mean like sleeping in. I don't know. But think about like what you're doing in the morning in that first hour of waking up that is going to help you feel really good for your day. That just sets your energy up to be in a good space. Mirror work is really, really cool. So stand in front of the mirror and just like talk to yourself really positively, lovingly. You can do like body image work in the mirror, right? So you can like look at yourself like after you shower and you're in like naked, and like look at your body and just like admire yourself. And it might feel uncomfortable at first, but just try it. You never know. And like touch the parts of your body that maybe you feel a little bit self-conscious about, and see if you can give yourself some love, some compliments, some positive energy into those spaces. Be thankful, grateful that you have this body that's yours. Like, it works, it's here every day serving you in so many different ways. Like, can we do that? Looking at yourself in the mirror is a really powerful way to connect with your soul. Talking to yourself, affirmations, like all of these things, hyping the fuck out of yourself. Really, really cool. Really, really good practices for helping you magnetize that energy, that positive magnetic energy. Put on or create a like sexy playlist, like a fun, sexy, upbeat, empowering playlist of songs that you play, and you like move your body to it or just listen to it on a regular basis. Music is a powerful somatic tool to shift your energy. And when you're listening to that music, you're going to walk around embodying that energy and that, like that kind of magnetism as well. You can think about a real life person or a character that's from a movie or a book that embodies the kind of magnetic energy that you'd like to call in, and just pretend you're them for a day. Like, step into their shoes and walk the way they would walk, do the things that they might do, think the way that they would think, make decisions that you think they would make, and just like play a character and see how that feels trying that on. That's a great way to as well call in that confidence and start to feel what that feels like in your body. And do things that you love to do with yourself or with others. Like, make sure you're injecting your day full of activities, or even like one or two like activities or things that you love to do. Make sure that you're bringing happiness into your life, because happiness isn't something that just happens. Happiness and joy are actually cultivated. And they're cultivated by the decisions that we make, the habits that we have, the ways we choose to show up in our life. And that's entirely in your control. So if you want to be magnetic means like having that joyous energy. So like, where can you find pleasure and joy in your day, and do those things, little things or big things, whatever those might be for you. And something that I personally love, I love like a really great heels or a sexy dance class. They have these in most major cities. And I have to be honest with you, it's all girls. Like, it's not like a mixed crowd, which is great because we all hype each other up. Women of different backgrounds, sizes, shapes, colors, everything. And we just hype the fuck out of each other. And you wear heels in some of the classes. They give you sexy choreography. You don't have to be a dancer. You don't have to be good. the biggest joke in my heels class was that like my instructor, she's like, I love watching Gabby because she has no idea what the choreography is, but she's in it. And I that was like the funniest thing I'd ever heard, but it was correct. It was accurate. So you don't need to be a good dancer and you don't need to be like coordinated at all. It just helps you get into that energy of like, wow, damn, I am amazing. And it feels really good. And then the last thing to kind of end our talk is smile often. When we smile, even if we fake it, again, not for other people, but for ourselves, we actually release like happy chemicals in our body and happy hormones, and it helps us feel better. It helps us create a more positive aura, more positive energy. So wherever you can, smile to yourself when you're alone, like smile when you're doing something that brings you joy or pleasure, like let yourself find enjoyment, wherever you can in your day. So yes, so that is our little chat on activating our love frequency, creating ourselves, making ourselves magnetic. If you have any questions or any thoughts, you can drop them in the chats. Otherwise, we are kind of wrapped up for today. And then on Friday, we'll talk about kind of navigating triggers and communication and things like that when you're starting to date somebody more regularly or you're in a committed relationship. You're so welcome. I actually wasn't going to send the slides. What I do is I'll send, I was going to do it individually, but I think I don't want to spam you guys. So I'm going to send all 3 of the videos to you guys, and in the video on Friday, and then in the video replays, which are just these classes, you can scroll through and it'll show you all of these slides. So rather than send the slides individually, if you just look at the video and you can scroll through, you can pause and all the slides will be like the way you're seeing them right now. They'll be right in front of you. Okay, awesome. You're so welcome. All right, guys. Well, it was such a pleasure to see you again. And like I said, any questions or anything after this, feel free to DM me. And other than that, have a amazing rest of your day, guys. Bye.